Join us at Women of Courage and celebrate the achievements of women.
The Women of Courage show is being broadcast by the Women and Children Restoration Ministries to help you problem solve, to help you dream again, to help you believe that anything is possible. We want you to believe that you do not have to marry the first man that you see just for someone to take care of you. You do not have to live a life of drudgery. You can educate yourself. All you have to do is learn to read competently. We want you to take a chance on yourself. Stop believing all the soothsayers around you that have never left the state in their lives. People who do not have the courage to fly. People who only think of lying, cheating, and stealing. You can live an exciting life. All you have to do is believe that you can make your dreams come true. You do not have to go to bed with someone you despise, day in and day out. You have the right to marry someone that you can talk to, someone that believes in you and has faith in you as a human being. In other words, you do not have to settle for just anyone.
I have spent a great deal of time discussing the book series Women of Courage. I have used this book hoping to inspire you to change your life and to fight for the things that you want out of life. Now I want you to listen to some of the stories about the women discussed in the book Women of Courage.
Everyone hates limitations. We all aspire to be great and successful, but several times we are faced by barriers that are far beyond what we can handle. This shuts us down and makes us limited by an ancient gridlock placed by the law and customs of our land. Forgetting that, we can break all barriers if we can just believe and be courageous. Today on the show, we will help you through how to achieve landmark greatness and leave a footprint in the sands of time. Hello there! Do you know that when women are strong, problems get solved, communities are built and strengthened, businesses thrive, and skills for success are passed on to the next generations?
When women are strong and have courage to seek education and employment, when they ignore social norms to achieve the impossible, they make the world worth living in.
Welcome to the show today, where we will tell you the stories of women through history who have changed their lives and made the world better by working, by learning, and taking courage. Oh, and we have something new and exciting for you today. We present to you, this moment totally needs a drum roll, guys, Women of Courage.
You know what I really like about this book is that it teaches the importance of courage in achieving the great things of life. It teaches that women must have courage to support their own minds, to support their dreams, and to become women of courage.
Exactly. And what makes this book so unique, in my opinion, is how it highlights women who took up courage silently and whose contributions led to the great success stories of other women we all know about today.
We will be talking about the book and the uniqueness it holds. Everything from the beautiful cover right down to the knowledge it holds in every page. From the first right down to the last page of it. The book has 2 volumes. Am I correct?
Yes, as a matter of fact, it does. 2 volumes and a handbook. It's even better because it has pictures. Pictures of great women who challenged their fears and removed all obstacles which have prevented other women from gaining relevance in the global sphere. Who doesn't love a book with good pictures?
Everyone loves a good picture. Everybody. Let's take a virtual tour through the book, shall we? On the first page, we have 12 outstanding women of courage. Mother Teresa, a humanitarian who stood out in her time by doing humanitarian service that are the least expected of women. I personally love Mother Teresa. In her words, kind words can be short and easy to speak, but their echoes are truly endless.
Those words, very true words. Also on the front page, we have Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, the president of Liberia and the first female president in Africa. And at the age of 67, she's a Harvard alumna, and apart from being the first female president in Africa, she was also awarded the United States Presidential Medal of Freedom, the U.S. government's highest civilian award. Who else do we have on the front cover?
We have Iris Chang on the front page. She is a historian, author, and a journalist. She wrote from 1995 to 2003 on subjects dear to her heart: the Nanking Massacre and Chinese Americans. Iris Chang wrote 3 books: The Threads of the Silkworm in 1995, The Rape of Nanking, and The Forgotten Holocaust of World War II in 1997, and The Chinese in America, which she wrote in 2003. She has a bronze star erected in her honor at the Nanking Massacre Memorial Hall for the passion she demonstrated for the victims of Nanking.
Go girl! I'd like to think I'm a descendant of Iris Shun Rashung. You have to agree with me that these women were go-getters who took up courage when no one else dared to, and today are celebrated globally. Who says you can't be a woman of courage too? You can fight your weaknesses too. You can also be on the cover page of a book as outstanding as this too, and be a pace setter for generations to come. Okay, I think I sound like an activist already.
Yes you do. That's what happens when you read this book. And that's a beautiful thing. I would advise you to buy the book too and begin your journey to being a courageous woman. The book explains in great detail the struggles and the limitations this woman faced before becoming the icon they went ahead to become.
Hypatia. There's another woman on the cover page, a Greek scientist and the first female scientist known by name, and one of the last great ancient mathematicians. Hypatia studied science at a time when it was considered a danger to Christianity. She defied all the limitations in her time to become a great scientist and also earn herself a place in history.
I'm going to be honest with you. I'm hearing her name for the first time, but I am impressed and motivated by her already. I don't exactly know much about the sciences, but I have always admired scientists from a distance, and seeing a woman flourish in a field that's dominated by men, it's amazing, really.
Absolutely amazing. The book Women of Courage showcases great women and their deeds. Some very silent achievements, but significant contribution to the independence women enjoy today. We can't ignore Aung San Suu Kyi, a politician who advocated and believed so much in democracy. She strongly believed that people must be allowed to rule and that all other forms of government are slavery.
It is not power that corrupts, it's fear. Fear of losing power corrupts those who wield it, and fear of the scourge of power corrupts those who are subjugated to it. Those were her words, weren't they?
They definitely were. Miss Kyi stood on this premise to fight for her people, to ensure they were given the power to rule and be relevant. She was thrown in prison, though, for taking a stand against the norm of her time.
In prison for taking a stand. She was a major badass, wasn't she?
Imprisoned and severely intimidated, definitely a badass. However, In 1992, she got her greatest accolade when the Norwegian Nobel Committee awarded Aung Suu Kyi the Nobel Peace Prize for her nonviolent struggle for democracy and human rights.
In the words of the committee, Suu Kyi's struggle is one of the most extraordinary examples of civil courage in Asia in recent decades. She has become an important symbol in the struggle against oppression. The Norwegian Nobel Prize Committee wished to honor this woman for her unflagging effort and show its support for the many people throughout the world who are striving to obtain democracy, human rights, and ethnic conciliation by peaceful means.
Being badass does pay off in the end, doesn't it?
It definitely does. Did you know that she won the Congressional Gold Medal while in prison? She's the first person ever in history to get the award while in prison.
Amazing. Did she get out of prison, though?
I should let you read the book to find out, but I'm feeling really generous today, so I'll tell you. She did get out of prison August 18, 2009. President Barack Obama asked the Myanmar military leadership to set free all political prisoners, including Aung San Suu Kyi.
Her profile is indeed amazing. Talk about carving a niche. Courage is definitely one thing we need to confront all the limitations we have in our world, and we need more courageous women in the world today, don't you think?
We definitely do.
Then it's safe to say we need more women to read this book. As a woman, this book encourages you not to be afraid to take that bold but unpopular step to change your story and the story of your people.
Remember, there will never be a point in your life when it is the right time to do great things. If you wait for the perfect moment, that perfect time, it is never going to happen. You will have to create the perfect time and the perfect opportunity and the perfect situation, just like other great women in this book, Women of Courage.
Totally. They were not deterred by what people had to say. They definitely did not sit around twiddling their thumbs and waiting for the perfect moment. Instead, they created it. They saw opportunities to do great things where others saw limitations and fear. They were strong and determined.
And the best part is, they were women just like you. The book Women of Courage teaches its readers never to get too comfortable and never to stop growing. Personally, I think one of the greatest dangers in the world today is satisfaction.
How so?
When people get satisfied, they stop wanting anything. Personally, I've seen people settle for the jobs that they detest, for jobs that they are actually sick of. It's wonderful.
True. Very true. People have become so content, so comfortable, that they would rather settle than go out of their comfort zones. I think more people need this book to remind them that. When you stop pursuing your goal, you are literally committing spiritual suicide. When you have goals ahead of you that you are stretching for, reaching for, that takes you out of your comfort zone. You will find out some talent and abilities you have that you did not know you have.
I couldn't agree more. Really. There's another woman I totally love on the cover of this book. That is Eleanor Roosevelt. She is the wife of Franklin D. Roosevelt, the 32nd President of the United States. She served as the First Lady from 1933 until her husband's death in 1945. Eleanor Roosevelt was a true activist. Her belief was you gain strength, courage, and confidence in every experience in which you really stop to look fear in the face. You are able to say to yourself, I lived through this horror. I can take the next thing that comes along. You must do the things you think you cannot do.
Empress CZ is another woman that adds glamour to the front page of the book Women of Courage. She is the regent of Qing Dynasty. She was the ruler of Manchu Qing Dynasty in China for 48 years, from 1861 up until her death in 1908. She was China's ruler during the Second Opium War and the invasion of Western powers such as France, England, and India. She had to deal with attempts to divide her country.
Stories like this should flare you up and motivate you to do even more than you're doing. When the message of misery visits you, what are you going to do? What will keep you in the game? You know, there are some things you think you never need to know. There are some things that we really might only need once in our lives, but could end up saving our life. Literally, figuratively. The book Women of Courage is so encompassing that it even shows you how you can use your temper toward our current situation to propel us to grow. Who knew anger could be put into good use in a book? This book motivates you to look beyond those things you think you couldn't do, those things you have talked yourself out of doing. It gives you the insight to your innate abilities that your fears might have suppressed. Who else do we have on the cover?
And Benazir Bhutto. She was the first woman elected to lead a Muslim state, having twice been Prime Minister of Pakistan. 1988 to 1990, 1993 to 1996. She was named one of the 7 winners of the United Nations Prize in the field of human rights. She was a leading opposition candidate in the December 27, 2007 election in Pakistan.
Wow, being a prime minister in a country like Pakistan is most definitely not a piece of cake. She must have put in a truckload of courage. Sacrifice and commitment must have been invested. Few years ago, no one would have thought it was possible for a woman to take a political post in a country like Pakistan. But she did. I guess the saying is true. Once you can think it, you can make it happen.
It's very true. With a mindset and determination to win, you can challenge fear and conquer it. This book addresses the reason why you must not fail as a woman, the reason why you need to set great goals and ensure you achieve them. It opens the eyes of every woman to the strength inherent in obstacles. It showcases how others have taken the bold steps, not minding their limitations and the accepted norms in their society to achieve landmark greatness.
A woman's activist, Susan B. Anthony, put her thoughts this way. A woman must not depend upon the protection of a man, but must be taught to protect herself. This is what the book Women of Courage has come to teach every woman. The book aim is making trailblazers out of ordinary women who have given up hope on their future. Women who have allowed their fears and prejudice to limit what they can achieve. It is a book on reorientation and redirection of women.
You took the words right out of my mouth. Well, look who we have here, Margaret Thatcher. Margaret Hilda Thatcher.
She has to be one of my personal favorites.
Mine too. The first female Prime Minister of Britain, famous for paraphrasing St. Francis of Assisi. Where there is a discord, may we bring harmony. Where there is error, may we bring truth. Where there is doubt, may we bring faith. And where there is despair, may we bring hope. She was leader of the Conservative Party from 1975 until 1990. She is the only woman to hold the office of Prime Minister of the United Kingdom, the longest-serving British Prime Minister since Lord Salisbury, and had the longest continuous period in office since Lord Liverpool in the early 19th century. She was the first woman to lead a major political party in the UK, and the first of only 2 women to have had any of the 4 great offices of state.
Speaking of personal favorites, we have Condoleezza Rice, the 66th United States Secretary of State. She was the first African American woman who was Secretary of State, as well as the second African American woman and the second woman. She was President Bush's National Security Advisor during his first term. She was a professor of political science at Stanford University, where she served as provost from 1993 to 1999. In March 2009, Ms. Rice returned to Stanford University as a political science professor and the Thomas and Barbara Stephenson Senior Fellow of Public Policy at the Hoover Institution.
We also have Rosa Louise Parks, the mother of modern civil rights movement. She was the first woman and civilian to lie in honor in the Capitol building rotunda, and the second black person to lie in honor under the Capitol dome. Ms. Parks had ignited the most significant social movement in modern American history to finish the work that spawned the Civil War and redeem the promise of the 13th, 14th, and 15th Amendments. She was such a significant woman in history, showing the world to be courageous and take the bold step and achieve impactful greatness.
Kay Satoria also joins the other great women of courage to add beauty to the cover and the stories of women of courage. She was the first Japanese woman to win a gold medal in a Winter Olympic competition. As a Japanese freestyle skier, she won the Olympic title in the event at the 1998 Winter Olympics. She finished third in the 2002 Games. She began skiing at the age of 4. I am going to pause for a second to take a short break while you listen to information regarding willpower and encouragement. It is all a matter of learning new behaviors. And please remember, it is easier to build strong minds than to repair injured people. What I said is a modification of a quote by Frederick Douglass. He said, "It is easier to build strong children than to repair broken men." Now,
Dear listeners, help us save a life. Stop breast cancer from taking lives. Will you assist us in putting the booklet, Black Women and Breast Cancer, into the hands of 1 million people? Please go to the website touchedbythelight.us and download the booklet, Black Women and Breast Cancer. Then email this booklet to 5 family members and friends, asking them to email the booklet to 5 of their friends. We're trying to reach 1 million women with this information to save lives. The death of 1 woman to breast cancer from our community is 1 woman too many. We thank you for your support. For just $13.95, we'll give you a book that will save your life. Not your life alone, but for the entire woman you interact with. Life-Saving Advice is a book by a woman who has seen it all. The 248-page black and white print gives you massive insight to identify potential danger around you. It outlines the characteristics of harmful people likely to put your life at risk. Isn't it life-saving? Hurry now. Go to https://touchedbythelight.us/regular publications instantly and obtain your copy. Making an excuse is easy. The consequences are fussy. In fact, we always find ourselves failing to achieve our goals because we succeed in making excuses. The good news is, the author of What You Must Do to Win has yet another book for you. The Cure You Need for a Change. What You Need to Win. The book title speaks it all. Reading its 276 pages is worth it. Be a courage woman to read and inspire others. Go to https://touchedbythelight.us/regular-publications and get your copy now for only $14.95. Life is at its best when you get to the mountaintop. Nevertheless, at times we lose our way and land in the valley. Adversity comes and shakes us in fear. What do you do at such a time? Where do you get your strength when it's gone? Be not defeated in hard times. is the book you need to overcome such fears and gain back your strength. It's cheap, $10.95 only. To purchase this book, log into https://touchedbythelight.us/regular-publications before it's out of stock. Are you a woman seeking solace? Or are you a woman in need of the comfort of prayers? Or are you one distressed and disturbed? It doesn't matter your niche. The Prayer Jar is a book just for you. It deserves your study table. The author, a fellow woman, writes this book inspirationally to address your prayer needs in every situation. The book does not only bring you closer to God, but it also leads you to a mature, prayerful life. The printing is in black and white. Don't wait. Go to https://touchedbythelight.us/regular-publications to get your copy instantly for $14.95 only. The Prayer Jar, a Christian book for your prayer life.
Now back to the Women of Courage.
The author of this book definitely took out some very amazing women to cover the book.
Books, both books. The second part of the books also have some beautiful women of courage gracing the cover. Women who broke the barriers to prove to the world that women indeed represent strength and boldness. We have First Lieutenant Kristen Geist and First Lieutenant Shay Haver, who became the first female soldiers ever to graduate from Ranger School. According to the Army, 4,057 students attempted the course last year, and 16,009 earned the Ranger tab. Both women are graduates of the U.S. Military Academy at West Point.
We also have Major Lisa Jester, 37. Major Lisa Jester became the third woman to graduate Army Ranger School. As the two female officers before her, Major Lisa Jester spent 180 days completing the combat leadership course at Fort Benning, Georgia. 20 women showed up for the course, 3 completed the course. Lieutenant Kristen Geist and First Lieutenant Shay Haver. In Major Jester's words, quitting was not an option. I'm really glad to be done with it.
I think you need to understand that Ranger candidates conduct an arduous 12-mile march while carrying a 35-pound rucksack. They are not given drinking water. The Ranger course includes a physical fitness test consisting of 49 push-ups, 6 chin-ups, 59 sit-ups, a 5-mile run in 40 minutes, and other challenges.
Let's not forget about sleep, or more accurately, the lack of sleep. Students survive on 1 meal a day and very little sleep. 60% of the attendees wash out even though the candidates are in the best shape of their lives. The exclusion of women from combat roles has been cited as a factor preventing female officers from reaching the highest military ranks. Combat experience is considered an indispensable qualification. But these women were not deterred. They ensured they turned their obstacle to a motivation to do more and succeed even against all odds.
Amazing. That is just very amazing. This book also has the images of the first contingent of the Black American WAC to go overseas for the war effort. These heroic women stood side by side with their fathers, husbands, sons to nurse and comfort the suffering. They successfully engaged in the danger of spying. They chronicled the pain of the war and offered spiritual healing. In addition, Black women faced racial and gender discrimination as part of their military service. Nevertheless, there were a number of breakthrough moments as they persistently pursued their rights to serve.
What stuns me the most about these particular pioneering women is how they simultaneously mastered the art of building and sustaining family and community life while dealing with wars. They were practiced folk healers, skilled seamstresses, quilters, knowledgeable parents, gardeners, cooks, and kept a storehouse of history and communal information at the same time. They knew how to press their skills into service for others. Throughout history, their networking and institution-building skills and their commitment to caring and sharing found expression in educational and healthcare efforts, campaigns to support the troops, and protests against many forms of discrimination.
Another woman we have on the cover is Hazel Johnson, the first black female general in the United States Army and the first black chief of the Army Nurse Corps. She was also the director of Walter Reed's Army Institution of Nursing. On September 1st, 1979, Hazel W. Johnson became the first black woman general officer when she assumed the position of chief of the Army Nurse Corps. Later on June 22, 1995, at a groundbreaking ceremony for the women in military service for American Memorial, Brigadier General Hazel W. Johnson Brown, United States Army Nurse Corps, retired, said this: "In the past, women, particularly minority women, have always responded when there was a crisis or a need. We acknowledge all minority women in uniforms, both present and not present. You are the strength of our success. You represent the patchwork quilt of diversity which is America, race, creed, and color."
If you think we've blown your mind, wait until you read this book. The stories in the book, Women of Courage, will most definitely give you the push you need to do more, to exceed your own expectations. It shares the stories that will strike a chord in you and will motivate you to find that reason to be a goal-getter and push you to make the sacrifice that will get you beyond your present limitations.
I think it's surprising and maybe even just a little sad that despite civilization, the position of women in society still leaves much to be desired. The numerous crimes committed against womanhood all around the world, or the preposterous perception of a woman as an object, one that has nothing to offer than her body and household responsibilities.
Oh, that's the one that ruffles my feathers, referring to women as objects, no matter how precious these objects are painted to be. That's another reason I love this book. The book preaches against the unreasonable silence by the women species and challenges women to ask themselves why the society views women as less than men and why we have just a few women in the history books. It encourages women to be bothered about why women are left out of various leadership positions, even with their extensive contributions.
The book Women of Courage was written as a means of proffering detailed answers to the question above and much more. In this book, you will read about how females of different ages, status, colors took courage to live exemplary lives, even though most of them were of humble background. Most of the book talks about the life travails over 700 women who displayed courage in actualizing not only their dreams and ensuring that women are given recognition in America.
Women of Courage aims to inspire every woman, regardless of age, color, or status, of the need to rise and fight for our rights. Most importantly, the book seeks to expand our understanding of the violence against women and children in America and all over the world, as well as how to put an end to it once and for all. By reading this 500-page book, you will be correcting the notion that women are poor readers. And like Rufus Choate, 1799 to 1859, said, "Happy is he who has laid up in his youth and held fast in all fortune a genuine and passionate love of reading."
500 pages of pure, empowering knowledge. It's a pleasure to read. a treat for the eyes. However, The Women of Courage Part 2 isn't your typical comic relief book. You might not necessarily be enthralled while reading it because the sole aim of the book is to educate women, irrespective of status or color, of the need to show courage and to stand up for their rights. Unlike many other educational books, The Women of Courage connects real-life scenarios to the topics that are discussed.
Because we love and care about you and want you to have the best out of the book, we have highlighted below 5 of the top takeaways from the book. In the book, Women of Courage, you will learn that women are vital to a nation's growth.
Yes, have you ever wondered why many countries around the world wallow in poverty? Well, the truth is that most of these countries overlook the key to their nation's prosperity: women. In many of these countries, inequitable pay, underrepresentation in leadership positions, and lack of access to necessary supplies have shortchanged the contribution of women in the economy. Former President Barack Obama recognized this, and by signing the Lilly Ledbetter Fair Pay Act, he was able to speed up the recovery of America from the recession.
The book also tells us that domestic violence is a symptom, not a problem. You would have heard countless numbers of times that domestic violence is one of the biggest problems in America. It's a false notion. Domestic violence is never a problem. Rather, it's a sign that something is wrong in the system of our society. The continuous existence of domestic violence in our nation can also be deduced as a symptom of the mental health of men. The primary reason why it is tagged a problem is only meant to shy women away from the real cause and appropriate solutions.
The book also shows violence against women is America's greatest health threat. Not cancer, not HIV, but the endless violence against women and children. Women are the backbone of their families. When they are abused or murdered, their families do not remain the same. And when families are destabilized, what do you think happens to the children?
The majority will end up in foster homes, where they will grow up to be poor, uneducated, and likely end up in prisons. That's what happens to the children.
Just take a second to let that sink in. A second to see how little action affects generations ahead. Wonderful.
Very amazing. You will also learn that women have the power to reduce violence against women. We understand that men are the ones to be blamed for the violence against women. The reality is that nothing can be done significantly about this menace without the women. Women have the power to cause as much as a 30% reduction in the violence against women. However, this will only be possible if all women for once put behind their differences and accept the responsibility to do something about this problem as a group and not individually.
You said something that I like. As a group. In The Women of Courage, you will learn 39 ways by which women can help reduce the violence against women. You will also learn that reading is a necessity. One of the major problems of women in America and everywhere in the world is the poor reading culture.
You are so right. A lot of women don't read. Those who do don't read enough or don't read the right things. Reading has enormous power in our lives in diverse ways. In fact, to survive as a woman in this man-centered society, you need to read as many books as you can. Not reading means you have accepted to be isolated.
And like Joseph Brodsky said, there are worse crimes than burning books. One of them is not reading them. The Women of Courage offers you the perfect opportunity to expand your knowledge and become a better and more courageous woman.
Billy Graham once said, "Courage is contagious." When a brave man takes a stand, the spines of others are stiffened. This is one of the main ideas behind the book Women of Courage. It is to encourage other women who have lost all hope and see no future again for their lives. We bring you stories of women who out of nothing brought out great things we are all celebrating today. The book Women of Courage contains stories of women who have suffered worse situations than yours and have turned the wheels to favor them, and today we all celebrate them.
Every woman is a star, but how bright we will shine depends on how courageous we are and the challenges we are ready and determined to overcome. Have you ever thought about the man who decided to construct the street light, or design the fire hydrant, or design the light bulb? Where did these ideas come from? What was the source of their inspiration? One source of these inventions was reading.
Reading allows for the accumulation of information, and when this information is assimilated in the human brain, an idea is born. An idea that will change our stories and create an inventive mind that sparks another great idea until finally man is raised to an enhanced state of existence. Reading provides the recipe for originality. It distinguishes the courageous from those who wallow in their sorrows and weakness. This is why Women of Courage is a book we all must read, because it ignites the passion that will propel us to aim high and cultivate a habit of never say it is impossible. Once you can conceive it in your mind, then it is possible. I need you to know that as long as a woman can be sold or exchanged for a chicken, women have no power in the world. There are women smiling and looking good in the news, but unfortunately, this does not mean women have power.
Unfortunately, it merely means women are reporting news under the control and guise of men. As long as men own or control all the factories and manufacturing facilities and all the ships in the world, women have no power. Power is seized, lady. Power is never given.
Never ever given. Stop priding yourself on being quiet. Silence is not always golden. It is the baby who cries the loudest that is first fed. Never be too comfortable with your sorrows and limitations. You know, I don't understand why women want to be quiet. No one can hear them if they don't make sounds.
I really don't get it either. Honestly, it's exactly what our book teaches against. It also has a handbook which helps you in your daily living. Helen Keller said, "Avoiding danger is no safer in the long run than outright exposure. The fearful are caught as often as the bold."
Every day, the television, radio, and internet tell stories of male courage as if the characteristic of courage is gender specific. We thought it only fitting here to tell the story of female courage. Courage is a characteristic that is normally assigned to the male member of the species. Very little, if any, notice is given to the female, probably because courage and heroics are associated with physical combat, and women have been considered incapable of physical combat. In this book, we attempted to correct this perception and expand the definition of courage to include women.
Awesome. The book is an epistle of the innate strength and the ability of women which go undiscovered in many of them. This is why every woman with a passion to excel and to fly high should purchase copies of this book and see how women just like them fought for the victories and rights of other women now enjoyed. If they can do it with all the obstacles in their way, then you can do it even with the level of civilization that we have now.
And the dates. The book has a chronicle of the significant dates in history, dates that are significant to the freedom women enjoy till date. It also takes us into the mindset of women who have made significant landmark through their courage and doggedness.
I don't know if you feel it's too, but the more I talk about this book, the more excited I get about it.
Oh, trust me, I feel it too.
Another thing I like about this book, it's a book not just for now, but also for the future. Gloria Lee must be applauded for this great effort toward empowering women and making them self-reliant, independent, and courageous. It takes a courageous mind to have done this.
Courage, loads of it. One very interesting thing about this book is that it is not boring. It is a book that is interactive in nature and quite engaging. You don't need to be a bookworm to enjoy Women of Courage.
I'm usually not a huge fan of books that aren't novels, but I started this one and I simply could not put it down until the very last period. Even I was shocked by the time that I was done.
I can so relate. All 500 pages without getting bored. That's most definitely a record for me. You can read this too. Just get a copy of this book on www.touchedbythelight.us.
Learn from the stories of women through history who have changed their lives and made the world better by working, by learning, and taking courage. Take the first step toward changing your history. Purchase the book Women of Courage and the handbook and learn how to have the right courage to support your mind, to support your dreams, and become a woman of courage.
I most definitely did. Thank you for your time. We'll see you next time.
Thank you for staying with us. I had a nice time, didn't you?
So, now that you witnessed what women can do, please consider purchasing the book series Women of Courage. Define the relationship you want with us, and let us work together to make sure both parties get great benefit from this exercise. Naturally, we are hoping that you will introduce this book to your friends, family, and coworkers. This book will be cherished by women as an inspirational read. In these times, women are not getting enough inspiration. Many do not know the great women that once walked this earth. This book can provide that insight, and young women today are reading more into their history and their place in the world. This generation of women is looking to improve and empower themselves. Where do they fit it? They ask. Women of Courage can fit into that empty space in their lives and make them wholesome people. These books would be a treasured commodity, and you can see women desire learning about the books, which means good viewership and a lot of social media engagement and recommendation. So please consider reading this book and sharing with every female you meet. We hope you enjoyed our presentation. Every now and then we must remind ourselves of those that have gone before us, lest we forget the ground we stand on was built by the lives of other courageous women. We wanted you to see the women that fought unimaginable battles while standing alone. We wanted you to see the paths blazed by women who gave their lives to be themselves. The only reason why women are able to attend university today is because women fought for this right yesterday. The only reason why there are female police officers today is because women fought for this right yesterday. Remember, women were left behind for centuries. Our intellect was dismissed. Women had to fight and fight and fight for recognition. Some women fought their entire lives. They risked it all. Millions and millions of women spent countless nights writing letters, making signs, petitioning the courts, walking picket lines, and being beaten by family members. These women were rebuked by their fathers and husbands and disciplined physically. Some spent nights in jail. Many were spat upon. Yet these women persevered. They did any and everything they could think to do just to be free to express themselves. Now we ask that you purchase the series Women of Courage on our website, touchedbythelight.us. This knowledge will enhance your life. A portion of the purchase price will go towards programs for women and children. We ask that you share this knowledge with your young children and encourage women to purchase the series. It's important that we never forget that women contributed equally to the success of mankind. Don't be discouraged. Yes, you can live a life you want to and be the person you want to. Be a goal-getter. Take this bold step to order and purchase these life-changing books. so as to learn the detail of the struggles and limitations women faced before becoming the icons they are today. Then you can avoid mistakes too. I'm going to be honest with you here. There's only one inspirational book which has encouraged me not to be fearful as a woman, but to take a bold but little step to changing my low self-esteem and total life situation positively, so quickly and greatly. My little secret has been the books titled Women of Courage. This book has been so amazing and knowledge-packed. Before now, there hasn't really been a right, perfect time to do the right or perfect thing. Most often than not, I've continued to wait for the right time to have things done, but it always never comes. Not until I got hold of the books, Women of Courage. To gain knowledge and becoming a woman of purpose, only then I was able to create the perfect and right time to grab every opportunity that confronted me. I was strong and determined never to get too comfortable and to stop growing. I was able to use and control my anger and temper for the right course. I became the woman of courage that was not deterred of what people say. I created and took advantage of every opportunity where people saw as limitations. Thanks to the story of many courageous and determined women of history. Interesting, isn't it? The success story of many women who read the book convinced me. Here I am, more refined, courageous, and living the kind of life I have always hoped for. You too can become the woman of courage and purpose everyone would admire, just like me.
Dear male listeners, our show may be called Women of Courage, but our name should not stop you from listening to our show. You have as much to learn and to consider as women. Why? Because many of you are fathers, sons, and brothers, and you need to understand those forces and situations that affect the female members of your family. So we do implore you to listen to our show with an ear for understanding. Thank you.
Dear listeners, help us save a life. Stop breast cancer from taking lives. Will you assist us in putting the booklet, Black Women and Breast Cancer, into the hands of 1 million people? Please go to the website touchedbythelight.us and download the booklet, Black Women and Breast Cancer. Then email this booklet to 5 family members and friends, asking them to email the booklet to 5 of their friends. We're trying to reach 1 million women with this information to save lives. The death of one woman to breast cancer from our community is one woman too many. We thank you for your support.
One of the most effective ways of getting ahead in life is by learning from the mistakes and successes of other people. This way, one can avoid the mistakes other people have made and possibly achieve success faster. This is one of the reasons why you cannot afford not to read the series Women of Courage. In this series of books, the lives and times of several women were chronicled who by sheer courage conquered the world around them. These women are examples of the quote by Ralph Waldo Emerson, who said, "When a resolute young fellow steps up to the great bully, which is the world, and takes him boldly by the beard, he is often surprised to find out that the beard comes off in his hand and that it was only tied on to scare away the timid adventurer." These are ordinary women like all of us, but they were determined to do extraordinary things. From the stories of their lives, you will learn how to stop making and living a mediocre life and start conquering your world and living on your own terms. For them, failure was not an option. Rather, it was an opportunity to refire and reach for their goals again. They have shown tremendous courage, so much that their lives could easily serve as a template for other women to emulate. Your primary starting point is believing in yourself and encouraging yourself even in the face of failure and naysayers. Thomas Edison failed numerous times, but he kept going. Finally, he won and invented the light bulb and other inventions. The same with Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln failed at politics many times. He even ran for dog catcher and lost, but he kept running for public office until he was elected president. One thing about the series Women of Courage, the books are not ordinary books. These books will challenge you, push you, and of course inspire you to gain your life again. Remember, a man is what he thinks about all day. So said Ralph Waldo Emerson.
Need a publisher? Contact Touched by the Light Publishing Services today. We can help. We can help you write, publish, or promote your book. Get the best book publishing services available. Call 734-786-3233. Leave your contact information and we will get back to you. Or email your contact information to yithril11@netzero.net. Get the best proofreading, editing services, book cover and website development, book trailers, and more. Email us at yithril11@netzero.net to get started. We are self-publishing made easy. We empower independent authors. We can help you write, publish, or promote your book. Once you contact us, the hard part is over. Self-publish your work quickly, easily, and affordably today. Call 734-786-3233. Leave contact information or email contact information to yithril11@netzero.net. That's all there is to it. Now you can leave the rest to us. Ready to show the world what you've been working on? Call 734-786-3233 today and let's get started.
Join us at the Women of Courage show every Friday from 3 to 4 p.m. and every Sunday from 8 to 9 a.m.